Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm making a really quick and easy little card, and I'm using a template that I have had for quite a long time, but I don't think I've ever videoed a card on my channel using it. Now, I don't yet have many of my things from the new Stampin' Up catalogue. Delivery is really slow at the moment, and I know it's just due to COVID and lots more people are ordering parcels, but I am a bit impatient. So what I decided to do was to use some of the in-colour card, which I do have because I've had this from my pre-order as a demonstrator, and you can see it's a mixed pack of card with all of the colours in. So pretty. I'm loving these new in-colours this year. And I also have my little 6x6 pack of designer series paper. And that's the paper that I've used on the front here. And let me show you. I like the fact that the designs are a little bit different this year. They're not all stripes and spots. We've got this nice wood grain effect as well, and script. And then the other designs in this, it's almost like a Hessian track kind of image, and the spots. So I'm using my paper and my card and one set from the new catalogue, which is the Tasteful Touches. And I'm going to use this sentiment, and I'm going to use some of the dies. Now you'll notice that the dies don't cut out the images. They're for labels and sentiments, tags, used as little sort of backing pieces, which I love these. I love these because these are really easy to fussy cut, but I just love having a range of shapes that I can use. And I'm going to use this one. I used it on a card last week and I really fell in love with the way it embossed that little, not an image, but just it embossed those lines all the way around it. And I'm also using an older set that's carrying on. And I'm using the smaller of these daisies and the matching punch. Now let me show you how we start. Now, you'll notice when I put the paper together for this card that there's a gap in the middle, but because it's got either a sentiment or an image and a punch out or something covering over that, you can't tell that the pieces don't match up. So I've started with my bumblebee. My score line is on the top here. It's a dint on this side, so that's going to be my top of it. I've got two pieces of Whisper White. I've got one for the front and one for the inside. Really easy sizings, but pop over to my blog if you're not quite sure, because I will put the sizings on there. It's a really fast card to put together. Once you've got your little pieces cut, it's one of those that you can mass produce quite quickly. And I'm thinking that I might make a set of the cards and make one in each of the papers that we've got, the designer series papers. It would be a really nice card to have in stock for a thank you card, or a birthday card, just a really easy one to put together. And you don't even have to do the sentiment until you know what you want the card for. Now, I am using this template, but I'm going to turn it round a little bit. Sometimes I use this portrait, sometimes I use it landscape, but I want to make it so that the square goes on this left-hand side and this rectangle goes on this side. It is still the same template, I've just turned it round. And what you need to do is to put your pieces of paper on there first to make sure that it's all going to be sort of centered nicely and it fits on, and that you've got the right gap between all the pieces. And that way you know that when you look at it, it's going to be a nice border all the way around. It isn't going to be wonky or anything. Okay. turn that one round. I just want the spots to go that way. I know they're all the same, but those darker lines show more for me, and I like those going sort of top to bottom. Okay, let's glue this on. I'm just going to use my liquid glue. I'm still waiting for the new snail replacement runner glue. That's in my big package as well. So I'm really hoping that it's going to be today or tomorrow. And so although I ordered quickly, I think there were so many orders, and I know that UPS is really backlogged right now. So I know it's not going to come, you know, priority to me. But, and it is a priority for me to have them, but I don't think UPS see it like that. Okay, let's pop these two last pieces on. I like to use the liquid glue for things like this, just so that if you haven't got it quite right, you've got time to just move it a little bit and make sure it's level. There we go, last piece. And you notice I don't put glue right to the edge, and that's because if I put glue right on the edge, I find that sometimes it squeezes out, and then I end up with a sort of a bit of a sticky mess. So I don't put it right on the edge, but when I squash it with my finger, that moves that glue to the edges. Okay. Now here's that little gap that I was talking about. So you can see on here I've got it covered over with a circle. Well, today we're going to cover it over with our sentiment. Okay, so I'm putting that on one side to dry, and I'm going to do my stamping. I've got two little offcuts of white card, and I'm just going to quickly put that lid back on there. So I've got two offcuts, and I've got my smoky slate grey and the small flower, the small daisy, and you need 3 of these daisies. If you want them to be paler, instead of stamping first generation, you can stamp off and use the second stamping, which is much paler. Okay, and then while I'm here, I'm going to stamp my sentiment. I've got that "You Are So Special" sentiment, and I'm just going to put it, just going to put it on my other piece of card. Okay, and that's all of the stamping. Now I've got my matching punch that I'm going to cut these out with. I'm just going to line it up in here really easily, really quick. When you line these up, you can see that there's a little white line or a little white space around each of the petals, and then you know you've got it in the right place. Ooh, this is getting a little bit stiff, this. I think I just need to put a piece of tin foil in instead of a piece of cardstock and just punch it a couple of times, and that sharpens the blade. I've been using it a lot lately, and I think it just needs a little tune up, a little bit of tin foil. Okay, and then what I did next was I used this, I put it over my sentiment, and I made it so that the sentiment was further to the right hand side, and there was a bit more white space here because that's where the flower goes, and I didn't want the petals to be covering over the writing, so I've just got it offset just a little bit with a bit more white space at that side, and I have already put that through and got one of those ready. Okay, now this is that little embossing line that goes round it that I think just makes it stand out a little bit. It's really, really pretty. Okay. Now, I don't have my Stampin' Right markers and I don't have my blends in the Bumblebee, so I'm using my dark So Saffron, and I'm going to colour just one of the centres. You don't need to cover it on the others, colour it on the others, I mean, because it's going to be covered up. And then I'm going to have just a little blob of glue on both of these. And I'm just going to put them on and offset the petals slightly. And then the same with the top one, I'll offset the petals slightly. And then while that dries, let's go back to working on the front of the card. Now, because there's not a lot of things happening on the card, I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals just so it's more of a focal point. And I'm just going to put 3 on the back. You don't need many. Oops. They don't even need to be in a straight line, look. Just take these backings off. Okay. And then I'm going to put this on, and I am going to centre it top and bottom. I'm using this little pointy piece here. So I'm just going to centre it like that. Okay. And then where's my little flower? Here it is. I'm just going to push these petals up a little bit. And that just gives it a little bit more dimension as well. You could do that with your bone folder too if you wanted to, but it's such a tiny little flower that it's just as easy to do with your finger. I'm going to put a dimensional on the back. Take that backing off. And I'm going to sort of butt the flower up. I'm going to stick it down, but butt it up all the way up to the edge of this sentiment. There we go. And that's it. It is such a quick card to make. Now, as I said earlier, I'm going to make 1 in every colour, I think. But I really like that the bumblebee sort of matches with the So Saffron in there, and that you don't need anything else on it. But if you wanted to put some little pearls on, or rhinestones, or even a little ribbon on there, that would look really pretty as well. So thank you for watching me today. I hope by the next time I see you, I will have got my parcel and I'll be able to use some of my new things. So I'll see you all again really soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.